Welcome. Appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully this next two and a half hours is time well spent for you. My name is Bob Morgan. I'm the president of VOB International. We're a consulting and training company based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Years ago, I was in a training meeting in Scottsdale, Arizona, and the trainer was world-renowned. Facilitator was someone everyone knew. Rumor had it he was the #1 salesperson in the US of A. 80 cars a month in, month out, had his own staff working for him, make his appointments, make his phone calls, answer his calls, send out his mail, probably polish his shoes, I don't know. The dream job that we've all heard about guys having. But that was the rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't even know if he sold 80 cars a month. That's just a lot. I've never known anybody who did that, although there are guys out there I know. Anyway, that was our trainer that day, and I'm listening to him, and I'm thinking to myself as I'm looking at him, you know what, I can do this. Why am I not selling 80 cars a month? I'm as good as he is. I'm better looking than he is, absolutely. If he was selling 80 cars a month, why is he doing this? 80 cars a month, whew, that's some money. I can do that. Why am I not doing it, I asked myself. Well, the answers haven't changed over the last 30 years. If you had a meeting with your staff and you asked them, with your sales staff, on your Friday morning meeting or your daily training session with them, whenever you want to ask it, if you ask them, why did we not reach our goals? I've written the answers right here because they're the same. And if I asked you what they were, you would come up with those as well. We're lazy. We procrastinate. We didn't believe. Halfway through the month, we lost our focus. Or my favorite one is we need to get back to the basics. We were shortcutting. We weren't doing the basics. Need to get back to the basics, boss. Those are the thoughts that I had at the time. Every one of them were negative. And as the day went on, he gave us more advice. And a lot of that advice he gave us, if you look at your training manuals, it is in there. Most of the training manuals out there are all a one-size-fits-all proposition. Is your phone script different than the guy down the street? Over the years, there's been a lot of guys that teach this, and they all pretty much say the same kind of thing. And if you ask your staff to repeat what that phone script is, most of them would be able to, unless, of course, you've taken the phone calls away from them. But then even the people you're having answer the phone could recite that phone script to you, but they're not using it. And as the day wore on, he was giving us advice like that. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't say that to customers. First off, it doesn't sound at all like me. Second, most of the time if I say that to a customer, it's going to offend them. I'm surely not building trust if I say something that asinine to them. And then I'm thinking there is absolutely no way he has ever said that to customers that he was trying to build rapport and trust with. No way. And yet all of our training manuals are full of that kind of information. Needless to say, the rest of that day was wasted, and I'm sure you've all been to training sessions that are that way, and I hope when this is over you don't think that about me. But some seeds were planted for my passion that day down in Scottsdale. I decided that when I trained and when I talked and when I motivated, I was going to focus a lot of my attention on that forgotten 80%. Now, I didn't take his advice that day, and I didn't really voice that opinion to anybody because I didn't want my peers, and especially my boss, to think I was weak and tell him, you know, boss, that doesn't work, that's stupid. But as I look back, if I look over the next week, none of my fellow salespeople took his advice either. And they were probably thinking the same thing that I was thinking. We fall into the trap that one size fits all for our training. Now, basic training, yes, it needs to be one size fits all. And however long that takes with your staff, if it's a week, if it's 5 days, if it's 3 days, whatever it is one size fits all. Here's our 8 steps or 10 steps or 12 steps to the sale. Here's our phone script. This is our internet process. Yes, one size fits all. But after that, what happens? What happens after that? That's a good question. This is where Pareto's principle comes into apply. And when I say that we use the one size fits all training for all of our sales staff, we do. And if you think about this, as I said, Pareto's rule applies here. 20% of your staff makes 80% of the money. 80% of your staff makes 20% of the money. So that 80%, unfortunately, is what? They're making minimum wage, they're making your guarantees, and if they do sell 10 cars a month and make more money, they're so happy, they're so rich, it's unbelievable. But they don't believe that they can move from here up to there. Why? Because we focus all our training right there. We focus it all there and we make it one size fits all. And what do? How do you fix that? We should motivate our staffs all together and one-on-one. But motivation is really the tool that creates a desire. And if we don't do anything about it afterwards, that desire just goes away. Personal training, though, personal training is the fire that keeps that desire burning. And what do I mean by personal training? I mean one-on-one training every day with every one of your staff. And some of you here are all thinking, I don't have time for that. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have time not to do it. You can't afford not to do that every day with your staff. It will create free time for you so that you don't have to worry about what they're doing. Wouldn't it be nice if you knew what these 16 people were saying every time they talk to a customer? That they had it as comfortable as you do when you're closing a deal with them. And how do you get them that way? It isn't one size fits all training. It's not training everybody there. It's one-on-one personal training because each one of them needs something different. Every one of them do. And if you can do that, you're going to create a motivation that they want to become better every single day. One of the questions that I get asked constantly around the country is, Bob, there are just no good people out there. Where are they? Where are all the good people? Well, I find that a little bit offensive because I'm good people. I'm sure you're not going to hire me as a salesperson, but you're good people. You have good people on your staff. I would venture to guess in the last 2 months you've hired good people. Your friends are good people. There are lots of good people out there. We bought into the fallacy, and there are classes, there are courses, and people are getting rich off of this, that millennials are lazy. Gen Xers want everything for nothing. They don't want to put in the work. Baby boomers, we did it all. We worked. We worked to get what we got. And nobody wants to do that anymore. There are just no good people out there. Well, I'm here to tell you there are, but there are not any good people out there if you're focused right there. And that's where we focus most of our attention most of the time. I had a sales manager in California tell me last month or so ago, my philosophy, Bob, is that if I can get 3% of the people I hire to be successful, I've done well. No, you haven't. You failed. There are more than 3%. 3%? Whew. You failed. I'm glad I didn't work for that guy because I once went 21 days without selling a car. he would have fired me. He's of that mind where you fire the bottom 10%, that's how you motivate your guys. But it isn't. There are good people out there, but you need to focus on this, and this is where your attention should be. And as your turnover goes down, you don't have to worry about it. Then people want to come and work for you because they know they're going to make money and they know it's a great atmosphere. And that's what VOB International is about. That's the training we're trying to do. We're trying to give managers the tools to be able to do that with their salespeople. One of the things that we teach with this group of people right here is you need to get them to understand that they need to quit comparing themselves with those. They're failures if they do that. Their competition is not these. Their competition is themselves. What should they do? They should set their goals so that they're set up to be better today than they were yesterday, to be better tomorrow than they are today. Again, their competition is them. There are lots of good people out there, and if we focus our training on this group right here, a 10% increase is fourfold what a 10% increase is there. All sorts of good things happen with that. Focus your training that way. Remember, you're always in the right place at the right time if you have the right attitude. Thank you.